Welcome back to the SDG Warriors Podcast. I'm Simar Mohanty, the team lead and student coordinator of SDG Warriors, a team of passionate student change makers and STEMness on a mission to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, leveraging the power of STEM education and 21st century skills. Brought to you by us SDG Warriors, this podcast features inspiring stories of EDUheroes and STEM experts from around the world, ideal for students, teachers, parents, and pretty much anybody interested in STEM education and social impact. This podcast aims to provide enriching learning experiences and drive positive change in local, global, and digital communities. And today, we'll be in conversation with the one and only Mr. Jack Sim, lovingly known as Mr. Toilet. To give a short overview, Mr. Jack is the visionary founder of the World Toilet Organization, the World Toilet Day Initiative, and the bottom of the Pyramid Hub. Named as Mr. Toilet, Jack has dedicated his life to eradicating the global sanitation crisis with unwavering determination, and he has transformed a taboo subject into a global movement, inspiring millions to prioritize sanitation as a fundamental human right. From humble beginnings to international acclaim, Mr. Jack's journey is a testament to the power of human ingenuity and compassion. Well, it's an absolute honor to have you on our podcast today, Mr. Sim.
Yes, thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm so excited for today's conversation. So, before we dive into it, to help our listeners audibly visualize the entire experience, can you tell us where are you located? What's the weather like outside? And what can you see from your window right now?
I'm from Singapore, and it's nighttime. It's now 7:35, and this is outside my house. We have bamboo and the street. Good weather.
Well, that looks beautiful. As for me, I'm in Bangalore, India. It's a cloudy evening which is setting in, and from my window, well, let's see, I can see a lot of vehicles and people who are gearing up for a relaxed, chill Saturday evening. All right. So, having set the weekend vibe, let's dive right into our conversation and start at the beginning, taking a walk down memory lane. Mr. Sim, growing up in an impoverished village without a proper sanitation, how did your childhood experiences shape your passion for improving global sanitation?
When I was a child, Singapore is very poor, and our GDP per year is $500. That means every month a person earn about $40, which means that their income is like $1.20 a day, and we were very poor. We don't have toilets in our house. We don't have water supply in our house. We have to go to the tap outside in the common area to take a pail and fill up the water. Our toilet is a bucket system, which is British bucket system, and there's a lot of flies and other people's poop inside. Very disgusting. So that was quite difficult for a child to want to go to the toilet. So I usually do it in the chamber pot at home, and my mother will dump it in the toilet later on. In a few years, we grow up into public housing with flush toilet, and we feel very comfortable. We feel like we are the same as the British people who colonized us, and they have the toilet, and we also have flush toilets. So over the 25 years from independence, our uh, country grow from third world to first world in 25 years. So we were independent in 1965, and by 1990 we became a very wealthy country because of our prime minister. He's very smart, and he know how to attract a lot of investment, and the country grew without corruption, with electricity, water, housing, jobs very fast. So today we are um, one of the richest country per capita in the world, and we have a treasury saving of almost 1 trillion US dollar. I think more than 1 trillion US dollar, which is a lot of money for only 6 million people. And so I think that there's a lot of lessons that Singapore government policy did right that can be transferred to India. Mm.
Wow, Mr. Jack, that's incredible to hear about how Singapore's entire story was shaped by one visionary who thought that there was a positive change which was required so that better resources could be available for its citizens. Well,
Mm.
as you work to address one of the most challenging problems in the field of sanitation, and speaking of challenges, let's talk about another aspect of your early life. Well, Mr. Jack, you struggled academically due to ADHD. So, we were curious to know how did you overcome these challenges posed by ADHD, and what advice will you give to students who are facing similar difficulties?
So I didn't know I have ADHD. In those days, this is not something you got diagnosed. It's only recently that medical advances come to developing country, and so when I was a child, I was very talkative, very active, and the teacher felt I was disturbing the class, and they asked me to stand outside. So I always fail in school because I don't know what is being taught inside. And by the time I'm high school, I fail and I could not go to university or pre-university or polytechnic. So that was very good because it saved me about 6 years of studying, and I could start business straight away. So I was a salesman for 3 years, and I was a very good salesman. So somebody invested in my talent, and I found that starting business is so much easier than studying. So I started 16 company in 16 years, and became quite wealthy. And by the age of 40, I retired and completely became a full-time social worker, working for free for the last 27 years. So I don't want money anymore. I want purpose, and I want to create a better world. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Sim, overcoming these challenges definitely requires immense resilience and adaptability. And at the end of the day, it's all about embracing your unique strengths and your unique passions. Just like you found passion in your business and you believed in it. And definitely, your journey is an inspiration for all our student listeners who might be feeling defined by their academic struggles. It shows that perseverance and finding the right strategies and finding your passion can lead to success. Well, Mr. Jack, could you tell us what inspired you to transition from a successful business career to dedicating your life to social work and sanitation advocacy?
So the purpose of making money is to reach a point where you have enough money to be free from money. And if you continue to be trapped by money, even after you have enough money, then you are stuck inside its rat race, and you will stay a very miserable life because you don't have any purpose except to make more money. And then when you come to the end of your life, you realize that you didn't spend those money, and you die. and you couldn't bring those money along with you. So all the effort of making the money is wasted. So why do you want to live a life like that where you are working so hard for nothing because the money is not yours? You didn't even live long enough to enjoy it. So there is a certain number of dollars that is needed to buy the house, to send the children to school, to eat, to have some holidays, to be free to go somewhere you like. But if you have a certain amount of money where you can earn money passively, like buying some houses for rental or earning, I don't know, some investment. In my case, I bought a few houses to collect rent, and I know that I always will have rent because those houses are in good location. Then I don't want to think about money anymore. So I reach a situation where money makes money and people help people. And this is a very, very good situation. So every time you give love to people, to others, you feel joyful. Every time you think about grabbing from other people, you feel miserable because you are greedy and you don't have a nice feeling about yourself. So I like to enjoy a good image of myself, and I can tell myself, Jack, you are a good person, you are helping people. And every day I can feel very nice. I think that is a spiritual reward that is priceless.
Absolutely, Mr. Sim. Finding a purpose in life and using your resources, your money towards finding your purpose in life and contributing towards the society. Well, shifting from a lucrative business career to social work is definitely a big decision that undoubtedly speaks volumes about your commitment to societal well being and over personal gain. And it's a mindset that we really need more people to embrace. Um, well, Mr. Sim, this brings us to our next question. Let's discuss about the origins of the World Toilet Organization. We'd love to know what is the story behind it and what were some of the initial setbacks and how did you overcome them?
So I was looking for a purpose, for something to do, a problem to solve. And I at first volunteer for distress telephone call for some people who are sad, and they call this anonymous number, and I'm a counselor like other counselor who pick up the phone, and we don't need to ask you who you are, and we listen to how you feel. And after maybe 2 or 3 hours phone call, the person feel better and not so stressed. So that is, at first I was volunteering to do that. It's called a distress anonymous phone service. Then I realized that I can only serve one person and it's not scalable. So I went to do heritage conservation. So old houses, I buy them and I restore them. But after a few houses, I realized that all my money is already invested in the houses and I cannot do more houses. So that's a very expensive hobby. But the houses that I renovated, I collect rent. So that gave me an income. Um, then finally, I realized that nobody wants to help on toilet and sanitation because the words like shit and poo and pee sounds disgusting, and yet everybody have to go to the toilet but they don't want to talk about it. So I say, okay, I am a joker and I can take this subject. So I went around to create this WTO, and it was instantly popular. Uh, the only thing I have to know is that when people laugh at me, they are paying attention to my message, and I don't feel like being insulted or something like that. I don't care. I have a thick skin, and my mission to solve the problem, to deliver the message, to make them take action is more important than me. I'm not important. The message is important, and the improvement of the people's life after it affect politicians to take this message to promise people and win election. So in India, um, we started in 2007 with the World Toilet Summit hosted by Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak and graced by the President of India, President Abdul Kalam, and also um, the Crown Prince of the Netherlands, who is now the King of the Netherlands. And they came, and sanitation in India became very popular. Everybody wants to have toilet, and the politician like Jairam Ramesh start to call Vidya Balan in, and they start to promote together with me. And eventually I went on national television with Salman Khan and did fundraising. And then Akshay Kumar make movie on toilet a love story, and Pet Man about menstrual hygiene. So in Mumbai in 2016, Jay-Z and Coldplay performed to 80,000 free tickets in Mumbai. So I was very, very happy. I also created the United Nations World Toilet Day, our founding day, 19th of November, became a UN day. And it was unanimously adopted by all 193 countries' government. So, I'm an ordinary person. I don't have authority. I'm not a politician, or I don't have any funding from foundations. But I'm able to influence president, prime minister, UN, and all country governments. So I feel very, very happy. Yeah.
Well, that was so inspiring, Mr. Jack. Using humor to raise awareness for good, that's such a big takeaway for our audience today. That no matter who you are, you can be a change maker right where you are. You can be the change that you wish to see in the world. From your story, from starting with distress helplines for mental health to starting an organization, the World Toilet Organization, to creating the World Toilet Day. Well, your impact has been big. So, which brings me to our next question, Mr. Jack. How did you manage to get the United Nations to officially recognize the World Toilet Day? And according to you, what impact has this had on global toilet awareness?
So it was very difficult to convince any government to table the UN resolution for World Toilet Day. And it has to be a country government because UN members are countries' government. I am not a UN member because I'm just a NGO. But I managed to convince my foreign affairs minister when he lost his election. So after he lost his election, I think he's free. He has time to become the guest of honor of my World Toilet Summit in China, in Hainan Island. So I invited him to be the guest of honor. He came, and when he saw what I was doing, he was very shocked. He's like, "How did you manage to get 1,000 government officials from all over China to meet in this Hainan Island to host your World Toilet Summit and pay for everything and pay you 50,000 to for the rights to host it?" And I say, because when we have the World Toilet Summit, there's a lot of media coverage, and the media coverage is worth 30-50 million dollars. Therefore, they spend $300,000 for an event is very cheap. And so he was impressed, and he says, how can I help you? And I say, exactly, that's what I was hoping you to ask me. And please make a UN resolution for the World Toilet Day. So he was no more the minister, but he called his colleague to say, please believe in Jack Sim. I am here and I'm witnessing what he's doing. So you should listen and go and table the UN resolution. So I went back to Singapore and made my presentation, and eventually they brought me to the UN. But it was a long journey. We have to convince 193 countries, not just Singapore. And we have to talk to all the different ambassadors in all the different countries, in Russia and in China and in America and all the European, the little island state. And it was very funny that everybody agree except India. India disagree to adopt 19 November as the UN World Toilet Day. And I said to the ambassador of India, why is it that you object? You have the biggest sanitation crisis in the world with 600 million people without proper sanitation and open defecating. And he said to me, I also understand, but 19th of November is Indira Gandhi's birthday, and we cannot support that her birthday is also the UN World Toilet Day. And I say, but you have to support because precisely it is her birthday. Then she want to help people to solve this problem even now that she's gone. And they say, no, the Congress party will not agree. So they are the last one who didn't agree. However, we get everybody else to sign. So we got 122 signature before we table the UN resolution. And when we table it, India agree. So we have unanimous agreement. So I think that it was a moment which I'm not sure if he really will object, but they didn't. Yeah.
Absolutely. Securing the United Nations recognition for the first International Day of the celebration of toilet is a monumental achievement. And starting alone, you're bringing people, countries, and now the world together. It highlights the power of advocacy and the importance of raising awareness on a global platform. Definitely, World Toilet Day has amplified the conversation around sanitation. And Mr. Jack, this brings me to my next question about your unique aspect of your approach, the use of humor and creativity. You often use humor to address serious sanitation issues. So, how effective has this approach been in breaking the taboo around sanitation?
It's very effective if you don't reach vulgarity. So when I make humor, it is just enough to make people pay attention, maybe laugh, but not to destroy the dignity of the subject. So this is a very thin line. And for last 24 years of the World Toilet Organization existence, we have never become offensive. All right. So that is a skill. The other thing is that the media love it. The way I tell the story, the media love very much, and they uh, help me amplify it. And so when the media writes about it, the politician takes it to win election. So Prime Minister Modi won landslide victory for 3 times now, right? Yeah, 3 times. And he built 110 million toilets. Even in China, with the Swachh Bharat program, right? Even in China, when they don't have election, every state, every province, city, government, mayor and governor and party secretary, they all want to impress presidency in the central government. So they also challenge to make their city and their province toilet clean. So we started in 2004 in Beijing to prepare them for the Olympics in 2008. At that time, their toilet condition was very, very bad. The people would prefer to uh, open defecate outside the public toilet instead of going inside because inside is very, very dirty. So within 4 years, we transformed Beijing into very clean. And now, 20 years later, every city public toilet in China is clean. That is 1.4 billion people, and it is clean. And when I go to China last week with my wife and my children, I'm so impressed. And I think every country can do that if the leader have a vision.
Definitely, Mr. Sim. If the leader has the vision, anything can happen. And definitely, humor is such a powerful tool in communication, especially for breaking down barriers and addressing stigmatized topics like you did with toilets. But there's a thin line between humor and vulgarity, and it's definitely a skill that you need to hone in order to not offend anybody. Humor is a tool which can make uncomfortable conversations more accessible and more approachable subject, which is definitely the need of the hour. Like you mentioned, bringing public health issues to the limelight and advocating for the well-being of citizens. So it's all about creativity and how you use your humor to address that issue. Well, speaking of creativity, Mr. Sim, your work has also been highlighted in a documentary. So, Mr. Jack, we'd love to know, how has your documentary, Mr. Toilet, the world's number two man, influenced public perception and support for sanitation issues?
Yes, this movie took 6 years to produce and edit and was premiered in Toronto Hot Dogs Film Festival, and it won many awards in film festival around the world. Uh, we have a filmmaker who decided that she want to make this film, and she went to fundraise for the film, and it took 6 years because she has to wait for events to happen. And we also went to the Kumbh Mela in Ujjain to promote toilets in a very humorous way. So I think that when we are doing our work, we are also having fun, and the film is still going on. You can watch on journeyman.tv, or you can watch on Apple iTunes or Amazon Prime, and everybody is watching. Nowadays we are showing it in schools for children to learn gumption. And at this moment I am waiting for the launch of my new autobiography called The Gumption of Mr. Toilet. And this book is by Penguin Random House, I think they are the biggest publisher in the world. And end of this month, it will be launched and available. And I hope to launch it in India, in Bangalore. I will be in Bangalore 14 and 15 of December, and I hope to meet everybody, and you can each come and buy one copy of the book. um, I will sign it and autograph it when you are here. And this is all very interesting because the book contains 88 small chapters, and you can read any chapter at any time, no need sequence. It's laid in chronological order, but you will learn life hacks. You will learn how to manage situation, how to do business, how to seize opportunity, how to communicate, how to influence bureaucrats, government, many things that you thought you could never do, you could do if you read the book. And I hope that people can learn how to change the world by reading this book.
Right, Mr. Sim, that was so inspiring to hear. We are really looking forward to hearing more about your book, The Gumption of Mr. Toilet. And definitely, documentaries have a way of humanizing complex issues. And your documentary provides a unique lens into your life and work, making issues more relatable and urgent for a broader audience. Well, we've included the link to the trailer of Mr. Jack's feature length documentary in the show notes. So, our listeners, you can go out and check it out. So, moving on with our next question, Mr. Jack, with 2.4 billion people lacking access to proper sanitation, what are the most critical steps needed to address this crisis?
The first step is that they want to have a toilet. Because once they want to have a toilet, everything starts to work because they uh, may be defecating openly for generation, and they didn't have the aspiration of having a toilet because their friends and their neighbors were all openly defecating. And so we have to make them want to have the toilet. How do you make people want to have a toilet? I think jealousy is one of the fastest way. So if some people have toilet, the others don't have, and the gossips go around, and then the others will feel very out of place. So I will tell you how it is done. A lot of the time, the poor people say we don't have money. And then before the cell phone happened, they don't have money. But when the cell phone came, then suddenly they have money to buy cell phone for themselves, their husband, and their children. And so we said to them, hey, where did you get the money? You say you have no money and now you have 3 cell phones in the family. And they say, it's no choice, right? Everybody have. And if my son go to school, he's 12 years old, and every children have a cell phone, and if he didn't, they will laugh at him. So you see, jealousy, gossips, they are very, very successful. The same way in the city, the office girl go and buy some branded product like Prada and Louis Vuitton. It's a waste of money because these things are so expensive and it's just a handbag to put things inside. You could easily buy a $5 bag and it's as good. But they would pay 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 because of jealousy, because their friend have it, they have to have it. So I think that use jealousy and make everyone compete to get the most beautiful toilet in the village.
Well, that was a very creative way of explaining your point, Mr. Jack. The scale of the sanitation crisis is definitely daunting, but understanding the critical steps that can definitely help us prioritize efforts and resources. And addressing such a widespread issues requires smart planning and collaboration powered by multifaceted strategies. Well, I recollect Toilet, a Prem Katha, like you mentioned, Akshay Kumar's film. It used something similar to build up the story. And like you mentioned, the first thing that we need to do is to help people want to actually have a toilet. And a creative way to do that is to use jealousy. People often think that jealousy is bad, but over here, you can also use it for good. It's all up to your creativity and innovation. And well, moving on to the next question, Mr. Jack, speaking of innovation, can you also share some innovative solutions or technologies that have extensively improved sanitation in underdeveloped regions?
So the twin pit toilet is very cheap, and in India, Dr. Bindeshwar Patak, he passed away. He was a good friend of mine, and he was promoting. He's a Sulab International, so they was promoting this, And eventually, when Swachh Bharat came, his model became very widely adopted. There are many other technology, and I think depending on how much money you have, you can get better and better and better technology. But the Twin Peak is the basic, at least the starting point that is very, very cheap. Other good ideas is like when I go to Brazil and they have toilet, but they don't have sewage treatment. So every time they flush the toilet, it goes to the drain. And the drain is full of the human waste and is smelly, and the flies come back to the people's house in the slums. And they call it favelas. So when I saw it, I persuaded the Senate, all the senator in Brazil, 79 senator, I persuaded them to pass a law that allow private investment into the government sewage treatment plant. That means privatization. And in the last 4 years, we raised 14 billion US dollar into their sewage treatment plant. And last year, I went back to Sao Paulo and I saw the sewer system were connected. So I'm very happy that by persuading people, they would do it because they have no money, but you don't need money. You just need to change the law, and the investment is profitable. So everybody will come. So that was how I saw how to persuade people and orchestrate all the different stakeholders. You cannot do things alone. And if I were to raise fund and build one toilet here and 10 toilet there, it will never solve the problem. Problem can be solved in big scale when the government policy changes.
Well, definitely. You're bringing countries together for SDG number 6, and that's indeed a superhero quality, sir. Well, those were some very incredible examples that you discussed, right from India to Brazil. Innovation is definitely key to solving these pressing problems, especially sanitation. And technological advancements can definitely provide more scalable and sustainable solutions. However, as we see in today's era, technology alone isn't enough. Engaging communities is equally important. So, Mr. Jack, we'd love to know how have you successfully engaged local communities in sanitation projects to ensure long-term sustainability? And also, can you share specific examples of overcoming these cultural barriers to promote behavior change and adoption of improved sanitation practices?
So, for example, I went to Cambodia and the people open the defecating, and I told the village chief to build a toilet so that his wife can show everybody how beautiful his toilet is. And after the village chief wife showed the toilet, I asked the village gossiper to go and gossip around to say that this is so nice and you should have one, and you will look so high class if you were to have the toilet. And then the gossiper are given $3 commission every time they sold a toilet. And the manufacturer, concrete casting people, I teach them to wait for the order. And when the gossiper come and come with the deposit to place the order, he can give her $3. And so the gossipers, which was in the past considered a very bad person, is now a very useful person. And the gossiper told me that actually she feels much better about herself now because she's actually using her talent to help people. And in modern days they are called influencer, right? Gossipers are influencer. And with the money that she made, she sold a lot of toilets. So she has like $150, and she can buy a present and give to her children and her mother-in-law. And now her relationship with her mother-in-law is very good because she buy present for her mother-in-law. In the past, they were always quarreling. So we have a lot of gossipers in Cambodia, and now the success, the program has been handed to the Cambodian Rural Development Ministry, and the government told me it is very successful. So every time we do good, we give it to the government because they can do very big. We just proof of concept.
Well, community engagement involving community leaders from the start can definitely help us understand local customs and gain the trust of the community. The creative approaches that you mentioned about gossipers and influencers in the village definitely must have connected with people on a personal level and must have influenced behavioral change. And overcoming such cultural barriers generally requires a lot of patience, respect, and a willingness to listen and adapt our strategies to fit into the local context. And when that is achieved, it surely ensures the sustainability of any initiatives. And like you mentioned earlier, sir, partnerships do play a big role in these efforts. Speaking of which, Mr. Jack, can you tell us what role do partnerships with governments, NGOs, and the private sector play in advancing your mission?
Well, they sponsor the World Toilet Summit, and they pay for every expenditure, including my expenditure. And I think that uh, also I want to mention that when we were doing the village uh, toilet sales, the the village women said to me that they don't like to pay the interest to the microfinance because the interest is very high. So I told them that you don't have to pay an interest. What you need to do is to find six of you who trust each other. Then every month you put 1/6 of the money in the center pool, and then you draw a lot, and the lucky person will get to build the first toilet. And next month everybody put the money, then you draw a lot again, and the second one will build the toilet, and 6 months later everybody has a toilet, and you don't have to pay interest. And they like the system. So this is a system that they do themselves when they were saving money. So now they save the money for the toilet. So to understand the models that they are already using, it's more familiar. Otherwise, you ask them to pay interest, they don't like it. Whereas in corporate partnership, I work with Harpic and Dettol. This company is called Racket Bank Kaiser, and they make the bleach Harpic and Dettol. And we built World Toilet College, 15 World Toilet Colleges in all over India, and we train the toilet cleaners to be professional cleaner, and then we place them into jobs. So uh, Hapik World Toilet Colleges was very successful. 30,000 professional toilet cleaners and sanitation workers were uh, trained and placed. So I think that partnership is very, very good, but you have to choose the good partner, and Racket was a very good one. Yes.
Certainly, partnerships amplify impact by pooling resources and expertise. Collaboration across sectors is often essential for addressing complex issues like sanitation. And a thing that struck me was when you mentioned about the World Toilet Colleges. Um, You have a deep understanding of human behaviors, social engineering at its best. There's so many stories, and definitely we can listen to you the whole day. And about the World Toilet College, definitely there. This is an area where not many people pay attention to. You have people becoming toilet cleaners, but they are not professionals. But what the college is doing is they're training them and giving them the good skills so that they can make an impact and improve the sanitation facilities in different areas. That's a meaningful impact, that's a change. So when all these stakeholders work hand in hand, it creates a more powerful force for change. Well, moving on.
CSR program, the Racket Bankizer CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility, and they also managed to get Amitabh Bachchan to donate equipment and even a sewage truck. So a lot of people came to help. Yeah.
Absolutely. When you do good work, well, everybody is there to support you in bringing a positive change. Well, moving on, Mr. Jack, we were curious to know what keeps you motivated and passionate about your work, even in the face of serious challenges.
I don't feel that I have serious challenges. I feel I have fun. And if you have fun, you always are energized. If you feel that this is a very tough work, then you will be very stressed. So I am not stressed for the last 27 years. I feel so much happier doing this work for no salary than to earn money in business, because in the business I'm very selfish. I only want to make money for myself. In the social work, I'm selfless. I can do things to make other people life better. And I feel so much better as a social worker than a businessman. So there is no such thing as a hard work or easy work. There's only fun work or boring work. And don't do boring work, do fun work. And the more difficult, the more fun, because you solve problem. Because if it was difficult, they don't need you to solve the problem. So have fun and help people.
Definitely love that. Your unwavering commitment is inspiring for anybody working towards a cause. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Mm.
Well, maintaining the tempo and keeping the energy high, let's begin with the next segment of our podcast. Mr. Jack, are you ready for a rapid fire round? First question firing up. Mr. Jack, you were to star in a James Bond style movie about your mission to improve global sanitation. What would your secret code name be, and what high tech gadgets would you use to tackle the world's sanitation problems?
My secret food is Mr. Toilet. And the gadget, well, it can be a brush, a plunger, and a cleaning cloth, but don't forget the bleach and the soap.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Moving on to the next question. Mr. Jack, what's the most unusual, creative, or innovative toilet design that you have come across in all your travels?
Mm. There are many toilets. There is a situation in Mongolia where the temperature is minus 40 degrees Celsius in winter and plus 30 degrees Celsius in summer. And we have to have a toilet technology that covers 70-degree range. And we discovered this in the north of China, only $100 per toilet, and we could solve it for Mongolia. So I think all the solution needed are already found, and we just need to discover where is it and give it to other people.
Well, that was very interesting. I'll have to look that up. But from what you've described, if we have more toilets like these, we could really improve the public health facilities in our communities. Well, Mr. Jack, if you could choose a theme song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Hmm. I think My Way. It's a very old song, and you don't have regrets, and you do it your way because everybody has a different way, and so you have to do it your way. Do you know this song?
No, I'll have to check it out, but I'll be sure to add it to my playlist.
The last part is that, and I did it my way.
That sounds so beautiful, and I think it's very lovely to see how music can reflect our journeys and can play such a big part in shaping our lives. Well, Mr. Jack, that was fantastic, and so far it's been an absolutely inspiring conversation listening to your journey and insights. Thank you so much for your time, and as we come to the end of this episode, let's wrap up all the learnings and takeaways from this episode in our last segment, the Inspire segment. Mr. Jack, who or what has been your biggest inspiration in life and why?
My first Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, has been the inspiration of my life. Every time that I didn't know an answer, I imagine if he was here faced with this problem, what will he do? And then I think he will do this, and I went to do. Of course, he wasn't here, but the image of his thoughts and his character helped me find the answer for myself.
Absolutely. Good leaders always become big motivators for our visions and for achieving what we want in life. Well, Mr. Jack, what words of inspiration were given to you that you would like to pass along to others?
I want to tell everybody listening that life is very short, and we have roughly about 80 years of good functioning life. After 80 years, our health is going to be very poor. And therefore, if you graduate around 25, 24, you live till 80, you have 50 over years of useful time. Try to be as useful for society as possible. Just always remember, when you help others, when you think of others, think for others, you are joyful. When you think for yourself, you are miserable. Don't live a miserable life. Live a life of love and care, and keep giving love even if nobody thank you. It doesn't matter. You feel happy yourself, and that is an instant reward.
Definitely, when you dedicate yourself towards selfless service and for social good, that makes us feel so good. But if we become greedy for materialistic things, that leads to a miserable life. And it's definitely a big takeaway for our student audience today. And coming with our last question, could you give us all a call to action? What can we, children and young people, do to make the world a better place?
Look around you for a very big problem to solve. Big one. A problem that affects many, many people. And think of a system that can change all of that. Think of system change and don't think of helping people one by one. Because when you think of system change, you can help thousands or millions of people. When you help people one by one, you will never solve the problem. So always focus on changing the root cause rather than the symptoms.
Definitely. Addressing the root cause and not the symptoms, exploring and thinking about systematic change. Mr. Sim, you're such a wise, simple man with a big heart driven by passion. It was lovely having you for today's episode. Your entire journey from your childhood to tirelessly advocating for global sanitation has been nothing short of remarkable, and your work not only offers hope but also provides real and actionable solutions for improving public health worldwide. It was truly inspiring to hear about the impact that you made, and I'm sure all our listeners found this conversation enlightening as well and have walked away with tons of valuable lessons and motivation to contribute towards the SDGs. Thank you so much once again for sharing your story.
Bye bye. Thank you. And remember not to have an imposter syndrome. Sometimes people think, oh, I'm only a student, I'm a young person, I can't do. No, that's not true. If you want to do, you will find a way. Just ask, how can I?
That's a great way to wrap up our episode today. And to all our listeners, we hope this episode has inspired you to think about toilets, the importance of sanitation, and the incredible impact that one person can have on systems and on the world. Mr. Jack's dedication to improving global hygiene standards exemplifies the power of passion and perseverance. Remember, every small action counts. Together, we can make a big difference and a positive impact for our planet. You can find the link to the World Toilet Organization and more info about the World Toilet Day in the show notes. And don't forget to celebrate World Toilet Day this November 19th. To deepen your knowledge of everything STEM, sustainability, and education, subscribe to the SDG Warriors podcast for in depth discussions and meaningful conversations with leading STEM experts and edu heroes just like Mr. Jack, who are shaping a better world one action at a time. And if you love this episode, help others find it by leaving a review and sharing it with your friends, teachers, and family. Well, remember to stay curious and be the change. Until next time, it's bye from the SDG Warriors.